Well, it almost fits in the door. This is obviously the biggest vehicle we've had in Ben's garage. It would fit in the door. There's a big pile of chalk out there, you might have seen from previous videos. And the Hobbit couldn't get enough of a swing to get the front sort of in the workshop, but it's in here. I can do some stuff. Now this is a 2008 Renault Mascot. I have alluded to this video for quite a few videos previous. I've mentioned it's here. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. It belongs to friends of ours. It's actually Tina's boss from the campsite. As I say, 2008 Renault Mascot. This is the 3.5 tonne version, which is a bit ridiculous because they've only got a 500 kilo payload on the tipper. It's exactly the same as the one we used to have. I think ours was a 2005. Now, obviously, in 2005 they did two engines. They did the 3 litre. They did 110 horsepower and 160 horsepower, 120, 160, something like that. This is the 2008. The 3 litres on the 2008 are all 130 horsepower. Ours, we had remapped. It was sort of sitting just underneath 150 horsepower, which made a massive difference. We used to tow, if I can find a picture, I'll put it up now, a 3.5 tonne Eiffel Williams trailer with the John Deere tractor on the back. We was over 12 metres long. I love that truck. It was brilliant. Before we had it remapped, it would pull the trailer, but you just get a slight hill and the lorries would be overtaking you. Anyway, this belongs to friends of ours. He took it in for a CT, Control Technique, MOT. They was doing the emissions and it started rattling and making the right noise. Now, I don't know if I can recreate that noise. It does rattle a little bit when you rev it up. If you know diesels, it sort of sounds like pinking, like a real sort of knocking. Not sure what it is at the moment, but they had it in at the Renault truck dealer. They had some work done and then obviously decided, fuck that, it's too expensive. The Devi, which is like an estimate of works to be done. Now, bearing in mind this is a genuine Renault truck dealer, so they're only fitting Renault parts. This Devi comes in at €12,122. Now, I don't know. They've said they've plugged it in diagnostics, and it needs all the new injectors. It needs a high pressure fuel pump. It needs the fuel tank draining. It needs this. It needs that. So let's have a look at this, shall we? Injectors. You'll have a laugh at this. Injectors come in at €908 each. There's 4 of them. 4? Yeah. So that's €3,639 just for some injectors. We can get them cheaper than that. They've quoted for a high pressure fuel pump €2,368. Obviously these are all genuine Renault parts and they're going to be expensive. I can get a fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump for this for about €500. I think Marcel, who owns the truck, I think he said he's been looking and he can get injectors for about $250. So for £1,000 you've got 4 injectors, where they're charging $1,000 for one. I've plugged in. I'm not going to go into too many details on what Renault have said it needs. We're just going to see if we can get it running properly first, because that is going to be the expensive part of this. I've plugged the top-done RT-Diag 900 into this. As I've said previously, it hasn't actually got this specific model in the software, but you can go in via the OBD. And it says that the airflow meter is out of range. So I'm going to pop the air filter off, we're going to pop the airflow meter off, and we're going to give it a clean. Now, some people say, oh, don't clean it, just chuck it out and replace it with a new one. I'm just going to do that, and then we'll plug the RT-Diag 900 back into the diagnostic port and we'll see if it makes any difference. So next we're going to be getting up there. It's a bit easy job, just taking the airflow meter off. It's just take the airbox lid off and just undo a Jubilee clip and the whole lot comes off in one. So we'll crack on with that now and see how dirty it is. I want to have a look at the EGR system as well, because that might need a bit of a good clean. So while I'm up there, we'll have a look under the bonnet and see what we can see. So let's see you over there. This vacuum hose should have been connected to the airbox, so that wasn't helping matters at all. Right, don't know if you can see that in there. That is proper shitty. There shouldn't be all those bits of dust and crap in there. I'm going to take this off of the box and we'll see if we can have a better look at it. So this is the airbox lid. There is a pipe that on there, there's a vacuum pipe that was not on. Now there are a lot of vacuum pipes on the back of the engine, so whether that was causing any issues or not, I do not know. But having taken the airflow meter, I don't know if you can see through that, there is a lot of crap in there. Now, I had this years and years ago, and I worked at a Toyota garage. Story time with Ben. I worked at a Toyota garage. It's no longer there. It was the second Toyota dealership in the UK back in the 60s. Collie Western Garage, up near Stamford. Now, the other two blokes in the workshop were factory-trained Toyota technicians. So anything different that came in, they wouldn't touch it. So anything nice, beautiful cars come in, Porsches, any, you know, Jaguars, any really nice cars, I got to service them. Anyway, I did a service on this Porsche, took it for a drive up the road, it was misfiring like a twat. Oh shit. Anyway, so we was looking over this thing for a couple of hours. The service manager phoned up Porsche and said, you know, what could be the problem? We've just serviced it. And he said, they said to him, if you've had the air filter off and something has gone over the airflow meter, it'll run like a right piece of shit. Now that's got bits of leaf in it on this side. Looks to be bits of pollen. So I'm going to try and clean that out and we'll refit it, see how it runs, and I'll plug the top dom back in and see if it says this is within range. So I'm going to give this a good clean out with some brake cleaner, blast a bit of air through it, and we'll put it back together. Fingers crossed, we might have just saved them, what was that, 6,000 to 8,000 euros. Not our luck, but keep our fingers crossed. This video has been sponsored by eManual Online, where you can pick up any manual for any vehicle. They provided a manual for this Renault Mascot, full workshop manual, diagrams, the lot. It's what the Renault technicians would use, and it will be very helpful for this little project. So if you want to pick up a manual for any vehicle, check out the link below, and yeah, thanks very much, eManual Online. Right, so that's all cleaned out now. You can see straight through it. There's no bits of muck or debris in there, and I've given the elements a little bit of a, not gone mad, just a bit of brake cleaner and just sort of wiped them clean with a bit of tissue. Don't want to damage the elements. I'm going to pop it all back together, get it back on the truck. We'll fire it up and see if it made any difference. That's all back together now. Just waiting for the Hobbit. She's just harvesting beans. And then we'll get to start it up, move it out so I can get into the driver's side, and we'll get the top dom plugged in. Keep our fingers crossed. It could just have been that vacuum pipe that was making the airflow meter out of range. Because vacuum pipes do funny things. Anyway, we'll see you when we get the thing started up. It didn't fix it. Having said that, it's not doing the knocking, rattling noise anymore. Whether it will do it from cold, I'm not sure. It's really cleaned it up. It was really, before when we were trying it, it was really smoking, putting out a lot of black and a lot of sort of diesel grey smoke. It stopped doing that, so I'm wondering if it's worth... We're trying to do the cheap options first, and if that doesn't work, then we can go on and change injectors, change fuel pumps and all that kind of thing. I'm wondering whether to run like an injector cleaner through it, put a new fuel filter on and see what goes from there. It's still saying that the airflow meter's out of range, as you saw from that little bit of footage on the top Don. I will see if I can source a new one of them. Now, he was having issues with it just cutting out. He'd be driving along merrily on his way, it would cut out, so he'd pull out. He's a Dutchman, laid back. He just pulls over, gives it 5 minutes, starts it up again, and off he goes. He's too laid back. Anyone else would get a bit pissed off with that, so you'd get it fixed, wouldn't you? That could be the airflow meter, so it might be an idea to change it anyway. So anyway, I shall email him and see what he wants to do. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next one. Bye for now.